Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Sophie, and I'm here with Leo. Today feels special because we are talking about something very close to daily life. You know those English words you understand but somehow never use? I think we all have many of them.
Hi, everyone. Yes, this topic is very real for me. Sometimes I listen to English and I think, oh, I know this word, but when I speak, it disappears. And that can feel a bit frustrating, even if you study a lot.
Exactly. This is not about being perfect or sounding smart. It's about feeling comfortable and honest when you speak. We want this episode to feel like a calm talk between friends, not a lesson.
If you enjoy this kind of conversation, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us, and it tells us that you want more calm English like this.
Yes, thank you for being here with us. Take a breath, relax, and listen. Let's talk about those words we think we know, but don't really use.
When I think about this topic, I remember many moments from my own life. I studied English for years, and I understood a lot when I listened or read. But when I needed to speak, I used the same small group of words again and again. It made me feel safe, but also a bit stuck. I felt like my real thoughts were bigger than my words.
I feel the same way. I remember talking to a friend in English, and everything sounded very simple, almost flat. Inside my head, I had feelings and ideas, but outside, I only said things like good, nice, or okay. It was not wrong, but it was not really me. That feeling stayed with me for a long time.
Yes, and I think many adults feel this pressure. We want to sound clear and calm, but also natural. For example, I knew the word actually for years. I understood it when people used it, but when I spoke, I never said it. I always thought it sounded too strong or too serious.
That happens to me too. I knew the word comfortable, but I almost never used it. I always said, it's good or it's okay. One day, someone asked me if I was comfortable in a new place. I understood the question, but I answered with a very short sentence. Later, I thought, why didn't I use that word myself?
Exactly. And it's not because we don't know the meaning. It's more about confidence and habit. We stay with words that feel safe. For example, I always used maybe instead of other soft words. I said maybe even when I was almost sure. It became my comfort word.
Comfort words are a good way to say it. We all have them. They protect us, but they also limit us. I used to say I think at the start of every sentence. I think it's good. I think it's hard. It was like a shield. Without it, I felt a bit naked.
That's a very honest feeling. I think adults are often afraid to sound silly. When you are a child, you try words without thinking too much. But as an adult, you want control. You don't want to stop in the middle of a sentence, so you choose words you know will come out easily.
Yes, and daily life makes this even harder. After work, when you are tired, your brain wants simple things. You don't want to search for words. You just want to communicate and rest. So you go back to the same basic words again and again.
I remember a small moment at a cafe. The place was calm, the music was low, and I felt relaxed. I wanted to say that the place felt peaceful. I knew the word. I had heard it many times, but I didn't use it. I said, it's nice here. It worked, but it didn't say everything.
I love that example because it's so real. Nice is a word we all use too much. It's not bad, but it's very general. When I hear myself say nice all the time, I feel like I'm hiding my real feeling. Sometimes a place is not just nice, it's warm or quiet or safe.
And when we don't use those words, our emotions feel smaller. Language and feeling are very close. If we only use small words, our stories become small too. That can slowly affect our confidence. We may start to think our English is weak, even when it's not.
That's such an important point. Many people think they need more grammar or more study, but often they just need to trust the words they already know. For example, I knew the word pretty, but I thought it was only for looks. Later, I learned people say pretty good or pretty tired. I knew it, but I didn't use it.
Yes, and when you finally use a word like that, it feels good. It's like opening a small door. I remember the first time I used actually in a natural way. I felt a little proud, but also calm. Nothing bad happened. The conversation just continued.
That's a lovely feeling. It shows that English doesn't have to be perfect to be real. Using one new word in a day is enough. Not forcing it, just letting it come. When it comes from a real moment, it stays longer in your mind.
I agree. I also think listening helps a lot. Not listening to study, but listening to feel. When you hear how people use words in daily talk, your brain slowly accepts them. Then one day they appear in your own speech, almost by surprise.
And when that happens, it's important to be kind to yourself. Don't think, why didn't I use this before? Just enjoy the moment. English is a long journey, especially for adults. Every small step counts, even if no one else notices.
That's true. This topic is really about patience and honesty. We already have more English inside us than we think. The words are there. They're just waiting for a calm moment to come out.
Yes, and in the next parts, we will stay with this feeling and talk more about it through daily life moments. Because English lives in daily life, not in books. And everyone listening has a story worth telling with the words they already know.
When you said that English lives in daily life, that really stayed with me. I think many people wait for the perfect moment to speak better English. They say, when I learn more words, then I will talk. But real life doesn't wait. It happens in small moments, like talking to a neighbor or sending a short message.
I feel the same. And those small moments are where many unused words hide. For example, I understood the word tired, of course, but I almost never used exhausted, even when I felt very tired after a long day. I thought it was too strong or too dramatic, so I stayed quiet about how I really felt.
That's very familiar. I also avoided words that felt emotional, words like disappointed or relieved. I knew them, but I didn't use them. I just said, it's okay now, or not good. It was easier, but it didn't show my real feeling.
And maybe we avoid those words because emotions feel risky in another language. When you use emotional words, you feel more open. If you make a small mistake, it feels bigger, so we protect ourselves with safe words and short sentences.
Yes, and that protection becomes a habit. I noticed this when I talked about work. I always said, it's busy, but busy can mean many things. One day, I tried to say, I feel stressed this week. It was a word I knew very well, but I almost never said it. When I finally did, the other person understood me better.
That's such a great example. Using the right word can change the whole feeling of a conversation, and often the listener feels closer to you. When you say stressed, people connect to that. They feel it too. Language can build small bridges between people.
I think another reason we don't use some words is fear of using them wrong. Even if we understand the meaning, we worry about the situation. We ask ourselves, is this the right place to say it? So we choose something simpler, something safer.
Yes, and that fear can stay for years. I remember the word instead. I knew it from reading, but I didn't use it when speaking. I always said long sentences to avoid it. One day, I finally said, Let's stay home instead. It felt simple and clear. I wondered why I avoided it for so long.
That moment of surprise is very common. We often think a word is more complex than it really is. Our brain makes it bigger than it needs to be. But when you use it once, it becomes normal. The word loses its power to scare you.
And daily repetition helps. Not repeating like a robot, but meeting the word again in life. For example, the word quiet. I knew it, but I always said not loud. That's funny when I think about it now. Saying quiet is much easier.
I've done that too. Saying long explanations instead of one simple word. It's tiring, and it can make you feel like your English is heavy. When you allow yourself to use the word you already know, speaking feels lighter.
Lighter is a perfect word here. English should not feel heavy all the time. It's okay if it's simple, but it should feel honest. When I started to use more of the words I knew, I felt more like myself in English.
That's an important feeling. Feeling like yourself is more important than sounding perfect. People don't remember your grammar. They remember how they felt talking to you. If you sound real, they feel comfortable.
Exactly. And comfort grows slowly, one conversation at a time, one word at a time. Sometimes you use a word and it doesn't come out perfectly. That's okay. The world doesn't stop. The conversation continues.
I wish more learners knew that. Many adults are too hard on themselves. They forget that learning a language is also emotional work. You are not only learning words, you are learning how to show your thoughts in a new way.
And that takes time. It's normal to understand more than you can say. That gap is not a failure. It's a sign that your brain is working. The speaking part just needs patience and kindness.
I really like how you said that. Kindness to yourself changes everything. When you stop judging every sentence, words come more easily, even the words you thought you would never use.
Yes, and those words are already inside you. They don't need force, they need space. A calm space, like this conversation, where you can listen and feel without pressure.
That's why conversations like this matter. They remind people that English can be calm. It doesn't have to be fast or perfect. It can be slow, real, and personal.
And in that calm space, more words slowly wake up. Words you thought you didn't really know, but actually did. They were just waiting for you to trust yourself a little more. Listening to you, I keep thinking about trust. Trust in yourself and trust in the language you already carry. Many people don't notice how much English they already understand. They focus on what they cannot say yet, and they forget what they can say now.
I feel that strongly. I remember a time when I felt my English was frozen. I was not getting worse, but I was not getting better either. Later, I understood that I was just staying in my comfort zone. I spoke enough to survive, but not enough to express myself.
That survival mode is very common. You use English to order food, answer emails, or say basic things at work. It works, so you don't change it. But inside, you feel something is missing. You want to share more, but you don't know how to start.
Exactly. And starting doesn't mean making big changes. It can be very small. For me, it was one word, realize. I understood it when reading, but I never said it. I always said, I see now, or I know now. One day, I said, I realized something today. It felt natural.
I love moments like that. They feel quiet but powerful. I had a similar experience with the word enjoy. Of course I knew it, but I often said I like it or it's good. When I started saying I really enjoy this, it felt warmer and more personal.
And those small changes slowly change how you see yourself as an English speaker. You stop thinking, my English is basic. You start thinking, my English is growing. That shift in thinking is very important.
Yes, because language learning is not only about words, it's about identity. When you speak a new language, you build a new version of yourself. That version needs time to feel comfortable, just like in any new situation.
That's very true. I think many adults feel shy in English, even if they are confident in their own language. It's like becoming quiet again. You may feel younger or less sure of yourself. That can be uncomfortable.
And that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. Feeling unsure doesn't mean you are weak. It means you are learning. When I accepted that feeling, I stopped fighting it. I allowed myself to be quiet sometimes and more open at other times.
Allowing yourself is such a key idea. When you stop pushing too hard, words come more naturally. For example, the word suppose. I knew it, but I never used it. I thought it was too formal. One day, I said, I suppose you're right. It fit perfectly.
That shows how context helps. Words feel different when they belong to a moment. If you learn words only from lists, they stay far away. But when you hear or use them in a real situation, they become part of your life.
And daily life is full of chances, talking about weather, feelings, plans, or small problems. Even saying I'm a bit worried instead of I'm not okay can change the tone of a conversation.
Yes, and it can also change how you feel inside. Saying worried helps you understand your own emotion better. Language shapes thought. When you have more words, you can see your feelings more clearly.
That's a very deep point. Sometimes people think learning more words is only for communication, but it's also for understanding yourself. When I learned to say relaxed or overwhelmed, I understood my days better.
I had the same experience. I used to say I'm busy for everything, but busy can hide many feelings. When I started to say I'm tired, I'm bored, or I'm excited, my days felt more real.
And people around you respond differently. They don't just say, okay, they ask questions. They connect with you. Your English becomes a bridge, not a wall.
That connection is so important, especially for adults. We don't just want to speak English, we want to belong in conversations. We want to feel seen and heard, even in another language.
And that belonging starts with small courage. The courage to use one word you usually don't use. The courage to sound a little different than before. That courage grows every time you try.
I agree. And it's never too late. Age doesn't stop words from growing. Experience actually helps. Adults have many stories. English is just a new way to tell them.
That's a beautiful way to say it. Everyone listening has more English than they think. The words are not missing. They're just quiet. And with patience, they will speak.
Yes, and we will continue this calm journey together, one conversation at a time, letting those quiet words slowly become part of your voice.
Take a quiet moment each day and notice one English word you understand but never say. Try to use that word once in a real sentence, even if it feels small or imperfect. Don't rush yourself or correct every detail. Focus on sharing a feeling, not sounding perfect. Listen to how people use simple words in daily life, not in lessons. Trust that your English grows when you use it gently and honestly. Remember that comfort comes from repetition, not from pressure. That short pause feels important. It reminds me that learning English is not about pushing harder every day. It's more about listening to yourself and noticing what feels possible right now. When I slow down, I feel less afraid of using new words.
I feel the same. When you remove pressure, your mind opens a little. You stop asking, is this correct? And start asking, Is this what I want to say? That question feels much kinder, and it changes the way you speak.
Yes, and kindness creates space. I think many people are surprised when they finally use a word they avoided for years. Nothing bad happens. The listener understands, the conversation continues, and you feel a small sense of relief.
That relief is powerful. It tells you that English is not a test. It's a tool for connection. Even if your sentence is not perfect, your meaning often is. People usually listen to your feeling more than your form.
I've noticed that too. When someone speaks slowly and honestly, I feel closer to them, even if their English is simple. It makes the conversation real. It makes me want to listen more carefully.
And that's something many learners forget. Your English doesn't have to impress. It just has to belong to you. When you use words that feel true to your experience, your voice becomes stronger.
I like that idea of belonging. Using English should feel like coming home, not like visiting a place where you don't know the rules. That feeling grows when you allow yourself to use more of the words you already know.
Exactly. And it's okay if progress feels slow. Slow progress is still progress. Every time you choose a new word instead of the safest one, you are moving forward, even if it's just one step.
And those steps add up. One day, you look back and realize your English sounds fuller, not because you studied harder, but because you trusted yourself more. That's a very quiet kind of success.
I think that's the most beautiful kind. Quiet, personal, and real. If you're listening right now, remember that your English journey is yours. You don't need to compare it to anyone else's.
Yes, take your time, speak when you're ready, and when a new word comes out naturally, smile a little. That's your language growing with you.
Thank you for sharing this calm space with us today. We hope this conversation made you feel less alone and more confident about the English you already have.
We'll keep talking together, slowly and honestly. Until next time, take care of yourself and your words.